Hi, I'm Amy, newborn photographer based in Toowoomba, Queensland. Welcome to my natural light studio. If photographing newborn portraits is something that interests you, I'm going to show you what a professional newborn studio looks like and how you can set up your own at home. Enjoy. The most important thing you will need in your studio is good lighting. Now in my studio, which I will show you, I have one big long window that goes the entire way across one side of the studio. Now that is what initially drew me to this space. When I found this space, it was literally just like concrete floors, grey walls. No one had ever been in here, and a friend of mine was like, you need to come check out this space, I think you'd love it. And I did. I immediately fell in love with it because it has such beautiful light that kind of flows in from one side. Now when you're setting up your lifestyle studio, and if you're using natural light, you need to just be really thinking about how much light is going to be flowing in, if you can use that light to expose your images beautifully. So yeah, when you're setting up your space, you also need to be thinking about what kind of furniture pieces. Think about how you want your clients to feel when they step into your studio space. Are they going to feel warm and welcomed? Is it going to be aesthetically pleasing? And what is your style? Have a think about what you're drawn to when it comes to textures and different furniture pieces. I'm going to now show you what I have in my studio, and this is just kind of, I feel like we're all kind of figuring that out, but I really wanted to keep it very simple in here and have just useful, functional pieces that were also really pretty and timeless. I wanted the studio to be warm and welcoming and pretty. I wanted it to be pretty. So let me show you what I have. I've got one kind of dedicated corner where I like to do my photos. That's my little setup with the computer. So I've got the lounge in there. I sometimes move that plant into where the window is. I have a little shelf here with some studio printing props and just deco pieces that I loved to make it feel a bit like a lounge room. And that big sheer curtain is just softening the light that comes through and evening it out. So yeah, I often have my families here. You'll see my families are often posed on the lounge. And I've just kept that really simple. There's a couple of little cushions. That lounge is from Freedom Furniture. Actually, a lot of what I have in here is from Freedom Furniture. And yeah, I think the lounge has been a great purchase because it's just really versatile and useful. Some people use beds. I think a lounge has suited my space the best. Some other things to think about is whether you'll come in here into your studio use it as a workspace. My work corner is very messy at the minute, but I'm going to share this with you. Like a little ladder thingy to hang different blankets and things on. I think having a mirror in here has been a game changer because if you don't have a mirror, people can't check how they're looking. And I also, because I have a client wardrobe, which I'll show you in a minute, it's nice for women to be able to put the dress on, see if it works for them or not, without having to go out into the bathrooms. I also have a studio print sample kind of section. So when people are coming in, they can see kind of what photos are looking like in print and the different products that I offer. There are some albums there, wooden prints and some prints. I wanted to do the gallery wall because it makes it feel a bit more like a lounge room, but also it helps families to think about what they might like to do with their photos. And then we've got the client wardrobe. Now I don't know what you are. I'm kind of a messy person. I would love this to be permanently beautiful and folded, but when you're a working photographer, sometimes things get shoved in, and that's what's happened here. So up here I've got a big flocati, which you can just get. I don't actually use it that often anymore, but they are really handy to have. It's just a big fluffy blanket that you can lay on the ground and do bird's eye view kind of shot of siblings is a great one I use that for. These are great. They're just from Big W, the old school nappies. These are really handy to prop pillows up or under the beanbag if you need to get a bit of height from baby's head. We talk about that more during the course. Different blankets and cute little cushions and pillows and things. I used to have way more. This is culled down, but like cute little pillows. Blankets and wraps are in here. More blankets and wraps in there. This here is headbands. Look at that hot mess. This is just raw content, guys. And lots of little outfits. I'm going to go back over to the lounge and talk to you guys about just a few simple things that you can get. You don't have to have a lot of stuff. You really, really don't. But that's my little corner over there. What else? This is my client wardrobe for parents. I've added a few pieces for dads recently, which I think's been really handy. I've been using that even more so than I have the women's pieces. So it's nice to have that. And that's, as I said, having the mirror has been really handy. So that they can check. I have a vacuum, which has been a godsend in here. Kids area has been handy. This is the parent corner. I think it's nice to think about having a parent corner. It just means that they've got somewhere to sit their stuff, somewhere for them to situate themselves while you're playing with their baby, so that they can relax and enjoy it. And I think when you're creating really comfortable spaces like that, being really mindful of your families and the experience you're providing them, I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind. What, as a consumer, are your families experiencing when they come to your studio? And that's really what I had in mind when I was setting up this space. I want it to be really comfy and welcoming, and that they walk away feeling like they've had a really lovely time. So in terms of some simple bits and pieces that you can curate in your studio to have a newborn session, there are a few little bits and pieces that I think are really handy to have. You can get a beanbag, and they are sold at prop shops, and they are really handy to have because they're a good size. You fill them with beans and you can sort of pose the baby on there, and I've got the lounge, which I do some styling on, but it's nice to have the beanbag because my studio is a little bit of a crossover between like typical studio newborn photography and more of a lifestyle approach to photography. And I like to do the posing and stuff because everybody wants their baby to look sweet and sleepy and comfy and cute. And I think if you don't know how to pose a baby well and you don't know how to comfort them to sleep, babies will flail, and awake babies tend to not be able to focus their eyes, and so it's much posed sleepy babies look a lot more happy and comfortable than awake newborn babies. It's just the way it is. Some pieces that you can get to help you pose the baby beautifully, and we'll talk more about that in the course, obviously, but here we go. Here are some pieces. You can buy these little bean kind of things from prop shops, and when you're posing the baby, and you'll see me use these things through the course, when you're posing the baby, under your bottom layer, shove these up under the baby's head just to lift the baby's head up a little bit, because you want the baby's head to be the closest thing to the camera, or the highest part of them, if that makes sense. You want them to look proportionate, but like if you want them to, like the way when you're posing them, the goal of a pose is always to make the baby look cute and squished in, and or that's my goal. So I like to use these, and even to just kind of wedge them into a position underneath. You can put these nappies are also good. You can, if they've got their little feet here, you can push that in underneath so that they can't slip through off the beanbag up underneath. So nappies, just old school nappies from Big W. These beans you can get from prop shops. Little headbands are cute sometimes. This is a little halo from Handmade Headbands by Sarah is her business name, but you can get these at prop shops as well. She hand makes these. How cute. Now let's talk about wraps. This one's really long. This is like a jersey, and it's a stretch wrap, and you'll see me use this as well, I'm pretty sure. It's really, really handy to have a stretchy one, because when you're wrapping it around the baby, so you wrap that around underneath their shoulders and pull it around, because it's stretchy, you're able to get it quite firm, and then the firmer the wrap is, the more neat it kind of looks. So it depends what you're going for. But if you're wanting to pose the baby in nice and squished, having a big long wrap like this, it can get the wrap quite firm. Comfortable but firm is great. Then for more of the over the top kind of aesthetic looking ones, just a typical blanket, like a typical baby's blanket. Think about the tones that you like. Think about colour casting too is another thing to consider when you're picking styled pieces, is the way it casts colour onto baby's skin or family skin. Baby skin in general is tricky, so I often am thinking about keeping it neutral and simple, not only because that's timeless, but colour casting is a pain when you're editing. So yeah, I just kind of have a selection of these pretty blankets to put over the top when you've got baby on their back or just underneath the baby, just to add a little bit of texture and to cover up, maybe you haven't wrapped perfectly underneath, so you want to wrap another one over the top so that it looks a bit more aesthetic. I don't know, but a selection of like pretty like layers or blankets is handy to have. This is another really great stretchy one. And I also have a few like muslin pretty things that I like to put underneath as layers for texture and interest as well. Now little outfits, it's sometimes nice to have a selection of little outfits to use for baby, because sometimes they'll bring in their baby in their favorite piece that they've got, but it's like a full length onesie, or it's a bright color, or you know, whatever. It may not be perfectly suitable to a newborn photo shoot, and I like to have their little arms and their legs out so you can photograph all those details. So this is one of my favorite little rompers, and I get a lot of mine from Hank Knitwear. I really believe in her business. I love what she does. She this is all, you know, handmade stuff, and she supports women in Peru who knit these for her. So they are a more expensive purchase, but they're also really beautiful, timeless, elegant. Like they're just beautiful. You can feel how much love went into that little piece when you hold it, and they just look so beautiful on baby. So that's Hank Knitwear. This is for little baby boys. And this is also Hank Knitwear. Ziggy Loo is another good one. Little rompers like this is really handy to have. Yeah, and there's so much, and you would have seen in my drawer, it's insane the amount of stuff you can get. And there's a million prop shops. I think what's really important when you're thinking about stocking your studio with props and outfits and things is to think about what style you're going for, and the tones that you're going to use. I've got stuff in there that I've never used, so I think that's really important to keep in mind. Make sure that it's always going to be useful and that you can use it all the time, and the colours won't cast, just and that you're going to actually like to photograph that, like if it's something that you think is really cute. And that's important to keep that in mind. You know, photography is such a personal, subjective thing. So you really want to think about what you like, because if you like it, then you're going to enjoy photographing it, and you're going to draw the people that enjoy that style as well. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of my studio. If photographing newborn portraits and setting up a natural light studio at your home is something that interests you, I've created a brand new workshop with Click Love Grow called Studio Newborn Photography. It goes live the 11th of November, and all of the details can be found at clicklovegrow.com. I hope to see you there.